There is a kind of loneliness that doesn't live in empty rooms, but in shared ones. A quiet ache that rises not from isolation, but from proximity without connection. Some people feel most alone beside the person they love, as if their heart whispers in a language no one else hears. Some people begin to recognize this loneliness slowly. It doesn't arrive with a dramatic moment, but with small silences. The conversation that ends too quickly, the touch that feels routine, the smile that doesn't reach the eyes. They notice themselves drifting inward, carrying emotions like fragile glass they're afraid to set down in front of someone else. And somewhere beneath that quiet distance lies an older story, a childhood where emotions were handled carefully or not at all, a home where expressing needs felt burdensome, where the safest way to love was to minimize oneself. So, as adults, they step into relationships with hearts trained to take up less space. Psychology calls this emotional deprivation schema, a pattern formed when the earliest bonds fail to teach the body that vulnerability is safe. The nervous system learns to guard instead of open, to predict rejection before it comes, to believe that being deeply seen might lead to disappointment or worse, abandonment. So they stay behind an invisible barrier, close enough to love, but far enough to survive. Inside, a conflict begins. They long for connection, the soft recognition, the warmth of being understood, yet instinctively pull away the moment closeness approaches. They silence their needs to avoid feeling needy. They pretend they're fine to avoid being a burden. And the more they hide, the more alone they feel, even in the presence of someone who cares. The turning point often arrives quietly, a moment when they realize the loneliness isn't caused by the partner beside them, but by the protective walls they built long before the relationship began. Walls that once kept them safe, but now keep love at a distance. Healing for them is not about forcing openness. It begins with recognizing the inner child who learned to shrink, with understanding that wanting emotional closeness is not a flaw, but a human need, and with allowing small moments of honesty, the kind that lets another person step gently into the space they've guarded for so long. In the end, the journey is less about fixing loneliness, and more about learning to stay present with it until it softens, until connection feels less like a risk and more like a place the heart can finally rest.